So these are the Sony WH-1000XM6s. Now, if you've been following along with all of the leaks like I have, then maybe you are super excited just like me, because from the leaks, it kind of looks like Sony has actually addressed all of the physical critiques that I had on the Sony 1000XM5s. Now, I always said that the Sony 1000XM5s were the best ANC headphones to travel with because these blocked out the most amount of noise, but due to their case and just how big this thing is, this just wasn't my favorite pair of headphones to travel with just because this case was so cumbersome. And so that's why I would always recommend, if you're looking for a pair of headphones to fly with, you might want to go with the 1000XM4s because these block out almost as much noise as the 1000XM5s, but they have a smaller and more comfortable case. But with all of the leaks, it kind of looks like Sony has actually addressed those physical critiques on the 1000XM6s. Plus, they also have some more important upgrades under the hood. But right now, we're actually going to go ahead and do a quick unboxing. Oops. We're going to do a quick unboxing here, and just keep in mind, if you want to pick these headphones up, they will be linked down below, and this is just going to be a quick look. This is not going to be the full-on review because we are going to be getting very nitty-gritty with these. How does this come off? Hold on. This is just... Nope. Okay, there we go. And that's pretty much it. Very basic. Okay. So, new case, smaller case. Hold on, I just don't want to break anything. Okay, here we go. So here is our first look at this new case, and wow, this is actually a lot smaller than I expected, which is great actually. So this is the 1000XM5's case, you know, big. Some people would say, oh, look how cool it is because it's origami and whatnot, but no, this is just too big. But this, it's smooth, but way smaller, and I actually think it's smaller than the 1000XM5's, the XM4's case. Is it thinner? Kind of. No, actually this one is just like a few centimeters, like a few millimeters taller. But besides that, it's thinner than the XM5's case by like a few centimeters. But the important thing is that the footprint is much smaller. It also kind of looks like we have a new locking mechanism here. There's no longer a zipper. We have like this magnet. Okay, oh wow. Oh yeah, so this is a magnet. And let's go ahead and open that up. And there they are. Oh, whoa. This actually feels nice. This is like pleather. This is like sway. There it is. This is like sway here on the outside. And this here is a little like a little bit denim, a little bit like denim. But more importantly, here's the 1000XM6s, and as you can see, they have a collapsible design again. So that means we can have a smaller case with a smaller footprint. And this headphone here, this glides, well, headband, this glides. Here's our new mechanism here, our new hinge. And all right, so these are the ear cups. We're gonna have to have a closer look, see how these ear cups compare to the XM5s, because one of my critiques with the XM5s was that the ear cups were a little too low profile. So, oh wow, those are more spacious. Hold on. Okay, so these are actually a lot more spacious than the ear cups on the 1000XM5s. Actually, let me get the 1000XM5s here for you. So one of my critiques with the 1000XM5s, the ear cups were, they have a big diameter to them, but they're a little too shallow. So for some people, if your ears stick out a lot, they might press down on your ears a little bit. But I actually just noticed that the ear cups on the XM6s, they're a little deeper as well. But more importantly, one of my biggest critiques with the XM5s was this headband. This headband just had very little surface area to it. So I did find that this can create hot spots like at the 1 hour mark. But something that Sony did with the XM5, with the XM6s, gotta get used to XM6 now, is that they actually made this headband larger again, And so here we're gonna have more surface area, and the hope is that we are gonna have less of a hotspot issue in at like the 1 hour mark, and hopefully you'll be able to wear these headphones for longer than the XM5s. Okay, and continuing here on the case, we actually still have our 3.5mm audio jack, and we still have, oh wow, that's actually, didn't expect that. We have a USB-C to USB-A charging cable, but it doesn't matter. We're actually going to be using our phone's charger to charge it up. And also you can now use the XM6s while they're charging at the same time, which is something that you couldn't do with the XM5s. But overall, personally, I am very impressed by this new refined design on the 1000 XM6s. From a look standpoint, these just look a lot sleeker than the 1000 XM5s. And I really like that this arm part here is no longer so round like on the XM5s. I always thought that was a little off-putting, but more importantly, these headphones, they now have a collapsible design to them again, which is going to give us a smaller case, which is great for traveling. But also from a comfort standpoint, it kind of seems like these ear cups are more spacious than the ear cups on the 1000 XM5s, which I personally really like, especially if you have ears that stick out a lot. And also this headband now has a little bit more surface area, which is going to help with hotspots. Because here we have the 1000 XM5s, and compared to the 1000 XM6s, I just feel that these look bulkier. And also just from a design standpoint, you'll notice that there's actually a seam here on the front and a seam here on the back. And like I mentioned earlier, we do have these rounder arms here. And personally, I just don't feel that these look as good as the 1000 XM6s. Like I've always said, I love the internals on the 1000 XM5s. These sound good. These block out the most amount of noise, plus they have those atmospheric pressure sensors in them, which really does help, especially if you're flying. But from a comfort standpoint, these were never my favorite, because these ear cups, they're a little shallow compared to the XM6s and the XM4s, which we'll bring up in a second. And also this headband was just a little bit too small, so hotspots were an issue. And since the XM5s just had their lay flat design to them, that meant that their carrying case just had a lot of surface area, which is not the best, especially when you're trying to pack for a flight and you're trying to get through TSA. That's why I would always say, hey, listen, if you want a pair of headphones to fly with and you want to block out a ton of noise, then you might want to go with the XM4s, because these block out almost as much noise as the XM5s. Plus, they also have the atmospheric pressure sensor in them, so they're going to be able to block out a lot of noise even while flying. But more importantly, I found these to be more comfortable because these ear cups were more spacious than the XM5s, and also this headband here had more surface area, so hotspots weren't an issue, and the XM5s had a collapsible design, so the case was smaller. So quite honestly, I think that if you have the XM4s, upgrading to the XM5s is going to be a no-brainer. But even if you have the XM5s, this might be one of those rare occasions where I go, yeah, it might be still worth upgrading even if you have the last version. Now, obviously, this is not a full-on review. We're just doing like a quick unboxing, quick first impressions, but we're going to be comparing them to the Bose QC Ultras, which I feel are another pair of good ANC headphones, but these just don't technically perform as well as the XM5s. And when compared to the XM6s, I think the XM6s look sleeker than these, but these do have like a good classic minimal design to them. We're also going to be comparing them to the Bose QCs, and these are just some of the most comfortable ANC headphones out there, especially because these are super lightweight. Now, I don't have a scale on me right now, but the XM6s also feel very lightweight, but we're gonna have to see exactly how much these weigh in. Sony's 1000X headphones usually weigh in between 255 and 250 grams, whereas the Bose QCs weigh in at 237 grams if I'm not mistaken, because I'm honestly doing this right off the top of my head. But more importantly, the 1000 XM6s are way lighter than the AirPod Max, because these things weigh in at 384 grams, so these things are just super heavy. Plus, I am not a fan of this scratchy fabric ear cups here. And we're also going to be comparing the 1000 XM6s to the Beats Studio Pro, and trust me, there's nothing pro about these headphones. And also from a comfort standpoint, these are not my favorite because these ear cups are just pretty shallow, and plus these do have a lot of clamping force to them. And then since these ear cups don't pivot or swivel, they don't rest as naturally on your head as, let's say, as any of these other headphones where their ear cups actually pivot and swivel. And we're also going to be comparing the 1000XM6s to the Sennheiser Momentum 4s. Honestly, I think the Momentum 4s are kind of due for an upgrade, and they definitely need to get sleeker because these are starting to look pretty dang bulky. Because the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, they aren't just bulky, they also only have a lay flat design to them, so they also have a super big case, plus this case is a lot thicker than the 1000XM5's case. And again, since these headphones only have a lay flat design to them, their case does have a lot of surface area. So the 1000XM5s just aren't as convenient to travel with as, like, let's say the XM4s, which do have a collapsible design. And so, like, I'm just super happy to see that the 1000XM6s brought back the collapsible design, because now we have this significantly smaller case, and we also have this new magnetic latch, which we are gonna have to test, because I would hate for you to, like, let's say, have your headphones hanging from your backpack, and then, like, maybe you're trying to run to your next flight and then, like, your headphones just fly everywhere. So we are gonna have to test just how secure this new magnetic latch is. But again, more importantly, since the 1000XM6s now have a small case to them again, then maybe there are going to be the definitive answer if you're looking for something to travel with, because they do look comfortable and they also have a smaller case, just like the Bose QC Ultras and the Bose QCs. But maybe the Bose QCs are still going to be the go-to option for some people, because maybe these are still going to be more comfortable than the 1000XM6s. But no matter what, the 1000XM6's new case is way better than this leatherette bra that you get with the overpriced AirPod Max. And then we have this soft shell case that comes with the Beats Studio Pros, which I really do feel is like a ripoff. But overall, I am super excited with the Sony 1000XM6s, and just keep in mind that this is not a full-on review. We're just doing a quick unboxing and getting like a first impressions here, because I'm honestly genuinely super excited with these headphones. But definitely comment down below, what comparisons do you want to see? And obviously, we're going to be doing the review, which is going to be the 1000XM6s versus the 1000XM5s and the XM4s. And you know what? Might even include the 1000XM3s in that comparison, but then we're also going to be comparing the 1000XM6s with the Bose QC Ultras and the Bose QCs, and then we're going to be having a separate video where we compare these to Apple's offerings, the Beats Studio Pro and the AirPod Max, and we'll might as well also go ahead and do a video on the Sennheiser Momentum 4s versus the 1000XM6s, and again, just comment down below what other comparison videos you want to see, and definitely if you want to pick these headphones up, they'll be linked down below.